So I'm slowly refining and improving my lime cooking process, and I'm now using a Camp Chef single burner 60,000 psi propane stove, and this is my latest cook. Still not everything cooked all the way through, but that's like the best cook I've had so far. A lot of these are really cooked really well and completely. I think the bottommost layer did amazing. But on top of that, I'm using this double quote-unquote kiln system. I'm using these terracotta pots as my kiln. I initially started with that kiln, or that pot, and I cooked it right here in this area. I set up a kiln that I tried to use, cook the limestone with charcoal, and that didn't do very well, and I thought maybe it wasn't getting enough air, so I drilled all those holes in the bottom of that one and did it again, and that one did better, that burn, but I just still wasn't happy with, oh, and the second burn I did with wood, but I still just wasn't happy with the results. So as I thought about it more, I just decided to go away from charcoal and wood and cut straight to propane. And so I put the limestone in the little one, and then put this grate on top, and then flip it upside down so it sits on top of the burner there. Light the burner, and then set this one over on top of the smaller one, even though it's highly cracked. I'm hoping that it provides some insulative value around the single one. So anyway, there's the latest burn that I did this afternoon, and I'm going to slake the lime here in a minute. I'm still just letting those rocks cool down. So you can see from a burn I did last night, or yesterday afternoon into last night, in this bucket here in the bottom, you can see there's a layer at the very, very bottom, kind of a faint white line. That's the amount of lime that I got from last night's burn. And then on top of there you can see a darker line. That's water on top of that to prevent the lime from recalcifying and keep it curing into a nice paste that we can hopefully make something cool out of. So yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to do, is slake this lime and add it to my lime putty and lime water stash in this bucket. Okay, my limestone is cooled down, and if we look at it here, you can see some of it is looking very powdery and white, and that white part is cooked all the way, and this is what this gray darker part here is not cooked all the way. What it does when it's exposed to enough heat over a long enough time, this is calcium carbonate, and the carbon cooks off and it becomes calcium oxide, and calcium oxide is very thirsty right now. It's kind of in its most volatile state. We're going to take these rocks that I've cooked and put them in the metal bowl and the metal pan here, slowly start to add water, and it will cause an exothermic reaction that will literally start breaking down the rock before our eyes. And if you don't put very much water, it will just break down into a powder. But we're going to keep adding water, and we're going to make it break down and make a paste out of it, like I showed in the other bucket. Some of these that aren't cooked, I'm not even gonna mess with them. Some of these that are partially cooked, I'm gonna go ahead, still throw them in the bowls. And these parts that are cooked all the way will slake off, and this lower part here will just be left behind, and we'll fish it out of our paste, and then these parts can be recooked again till they're completely cooked. So once I put these in and add water, see a exothermic reaction there. It's going to heat up, and a lot of the initial water is just going to boil right off. It's not because I've cooked these rocks, because as you can see, I can pick up, handle these rocks. They are not hot. I've let them cool, but it's going to be an exothermic reaction between the calcium oxide and the water. So that's coming up next. Okay, I separated these out. These ones appear to be the ones that are pretty much cooked, except for that chunk right there. Pretty much cooked all the way through, and that'll be like the batch that has the best exothermic reaction and the most breakdown. These ones, as you can see, have been cooked to varying degrees, and this one, after we slake the rock and it's broken down, we'll still have the chunks of solid rock in there that we'll have to fish out. So that's coming up next. Okay, I got a spray bottle here full of water. I guess you're just gonna have to trust me, but that's water. That's all it is. And I've got my cooked limestone here in my metal bowl, and I'm just gonna start applying water to slake the lime. Oh, when you spray it on there, you can start to see some darker spots that may not be always cooked as well as I thought, but we definitely have some that's cooked. Oh! Oh man, I've never seen that before. There's the exothermic reaction. I'm just gonna spray that much water, let it sit here for a minute. But how cool is that? Seeing rocks, stone, broken down right before our eyes. We're gonna liquefy this rock, then we're gonna be able to use it to build something cool. Pretty cool. Okay, we're gonna slowly keep adding a little more water and hope we don't get one of those violent reactions. Like I said, I've never seen it do that before at all. But it doesn't take much water to get this to start reacting and start breaking down. As you can see, it kind of dries out really fast. They just soak it up, and it heats up, steams off, and the rock is just turned to powder. It's pretty cool. We're just gonna spritz that again and let it sit for a minute while we take and start the reaction on this one. This is the one where the rocks, you can visibly see already that they're not cooked as well. But we're gonna still process it and slake the cooked parts. Okay. Hear the reaction starting already. You can see the steam coming off and the rock starting to break down right there. So there's definitely some fully cooked lime in there as well. All right, let's go back to this one. These ones, no trick photography here. The rocks just continue to break down and turn into a powder. So we'll keep applying more and more water, keep the reaction going. And And we just wait. If it starts to slow down or look like it's too dry, I just add more water. And we just let it do its thing. The rocks just become powder and they'll become liquefied here in a little while. Pretty cool. It goes from that solid rock, like at the top of that, and that gray rock in the bottom, to a totally broken down, reusable form by man. Gotta let it slowly do its thing and break down. Let the water work its way into the different layers deeper in the rock as the layers crumble off. And it'll get to a point where we'll start stirring this up a little bit and adding more water. And that's when we start making a paste. When this is broken down more and the water stops steaming off and evaporating off. Crumbling. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep working on these, going back and forth, and instead of filming this whole boring thing, when it gets closer, I'll come back on and film a little bit more, but now it's just more of the same and waiting. So over and out for a minute. Okay, the reaction is starting to slow a little bit in both of these and getting to the point where it's not taking as much water. So I'm gonna get to the point where I'm just gonna start dumping in water and then manually stirring it up to hopefully get the water to any parts like down at the bottom that aren't getting soaked well enough with this spray bottle, due to the fact that this on top is soaking it all up or whatever. But yeah, it still has exothermic reaction though, and on some of these piles the water evaporates almost as soon as I spray it on there. But anyway, I'm going to put down the spray bottle and get some water to add to this and something to stir it with. Be right back. One thing that's pretty cool as I get ready to add this water on here is like the volume of how much this material has expanded as it's broken down and turned into a powder versus its normal rock form. This bowl is a lot fuller. And of course it's a lot finer and more powdery, but still, just an observation. And I'm going to add in some more water here. Just start. Ooh, that fast. Got a bit. Spray bottle just wasn't cutting it anymore, though, so I'm going to start going this route. But yeah, there's a lot that the spray bottle just wasn't reaching. Look at that boil. Pretty cool. Some more over Alright, there's more to this guy. I know it's got some more to go to. Not as bad as the other one. I think looks like the reaction's winding down in this pot. I thought that there was a little more life left in it, but looks like it's getting done. Alright, let's go back to this one. Okay. Sounds. This one's starting to wind down too. Let's just stir in some of this stuff. Oh. See, our bowl is really full now. Start to get this all stirred up. Still have some pretty good chunks of rock in there that weren't cooked. But see, that's what this whole stone, this whole rock started as, right there. And we've just taken this down, broken this rock down to a liquid form. How cool is that? We'll stir this up a little bit, let it sit just to make sure that the reaction is 100% done. And then I'll fish those rocks out of there and we'll process this and strain it to get just the really fine, powdery processed lime and no little rocks. So I'll be back. Okay, I've let this sit and stirred it up quite a bit. I think all the reaction is done. We've got a couple of big pieces in this one and several big pieces in that one over here. But how cool is this? I mean, a few hours ago, this whole soupy mess started out as solid rock, as solid as these guys right here. In a matter of hours, we processed it, and we liquefied this rock. How stinking cool is that? Broken down into all these fine particles that we're gonna filter out and store so that we can use it later. But this is gonna take two hands to get these rocks out of here, so I'm gonna do that and then I'll be back. Okay, I opened the bucket of lime that I processed yesterday, and I don't know if you can see it, but right here is the water line, and then right here is the lime line in the bottom. And see it from the side again. Different layers. Kind of, sort of, not really. Okay, well, anyway, I'm gonna keep processing this and then we're gonna strain it into this bucket. Got most of the big chunks out of my lime there. I've got nice lime milk and need to filter it into this bucket because we don't it's still got little tiny fine chunks of rock in it, and we don't want that. We just want the finer lime material that will go make it through this window screen over this bucket. I bought 2 lids and cut a hole in one to use it as a screen. So this step just consists of get some of your lime milk here. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to do with one hand. I'm filming, but you'll get the gist of it. And you use a little water to wash and filter the fine powdery lime down into the bucket. And that's how we separate it. And then this part, the little gravelly stuff that didn't break down into powder, can be discarded. So I'm gonna use 2 hands and try and knock this out, and then I'll be back. Okay, I was in the middle of filming my last video and my phone died, so I've closed up the bucket, but we've got the processed lime down inside there. There's a layer of water on top. The lime will settle into a paste at the bottom, and as long as it's got that layer of water on top of it, it'll stay good and ready to use whenever we need it. And in this dry weather, we're gonna keep that lid on it sealed tight as well. But yeah, it's another successful batch processed. We got some of my tools over there of the trade washed up and ready to go. The lime kind of does get everywhere, but like I say, it's not. There's my little discard pile. It's getting dark, so it seems like my camera's having a hard time focusing, so I'll wrap it up here. Anyway, the lime is not volatile, and except in that state after you've cooked it, you've let it cool, and you start slaking it, and that exothermic reaction kicks in. But that only lasts for 20 to 30 minutes, something like that, as the rock is breaking down, and then it's fine. And that was the most violent reaction to slaking the calcined or cooked lime that I've seen tonight. So be sure to wear your safety glasses or goggles when you're doing that. And can't think of anything. Oh, a lot of you may be asking yourselves, why am I going to all this trouble, to find the limestone, to bring it over here, break it up into small pieces, spend hours babying this thing to cook the lime, and do all this experimenting that fails and doesn't do that great, just to get, really not that much lime. With the time that I've spent into processing this, I could have bought, a ton of lime for whatever my time's worth. But I don't know. For me, it's just about the process, learning something new, learning something new and challenging. Trying to hone new skills through experimentation, trying different tools, trying different techniques, trying different rocks. Because I think there's different purities of the limestone, which I was noticing. This is the chunk of rocks that I took out of the pot that I had, and these are the portions of rock that did not cook and break down. And some of it, it's not completely pure. It looks like it probably has different minerals besides just the limestone in the layers of limestone, but I don't know. I'm no geologist, but maybe that's some of the reason why all of it doesn't cook and break down as nicely. I don't know, but I'm just having fun, learning, experimenting, playing with rocks and mud. So I will talk to you later. Hopefully someone finds this valuable.